the Smith Wesson Performance Center Shield EZ. So I like the slide cuts, I like the ported barrel, the sights, the trigger feels good. I don't know. Welcome back to the Concealed Carry channel. I'm Grant McLean. Today we have a awesome review of the Smith Wesson Performance Center Shield EZ. Kind of a hard gun to find right now, so I was pretty happy that I was able to get my hands on one, and I'm excited to share my findings with you. Before we jump into the review, I want to say thank you so much to our Patreon supporters. If you'd like to help support us, we greatly appreciate it. Go down into the description below, click on our Patreon link. It'll take you to the page. You can support us whatever's comfortable for you, and of course, you'll have entries in for our quarterly giveaway. This quarter, we are giving away a Traeger grill, which is awesome. And if you want to see extra exclusive content for things that are not concealed carry, say, related, like rifles and such, you can do our Beyond the Black Shirt subscription, and that'll take you beyond the black shirt to more awesome guns. We're going beyond the black shirt. It's nice. Of course, if you need to get a gun, visit nwarmory.com. The folks over at Northwest Armory are happy to help you out. You can go into the store and do an in-store pickup or have it shipped to your local FFL. And also, thank you so much to X-Hunt Targets. You guys are awesome. If you need to get some awesome targets, go to xhunttargets.com. Alrighty, let's go ahead and jump into the unboxing portion of the Performance Center Shield here. Got some things rattling around in the box. Let's find out what it is. If you were to go to the store, you were to buy this gun, here's kind of what you're going to expect. There we are. Sitting on top, you're going to have your paperwork. So we have a manual and a couple pieces of paperwork here from Smith & Wesson. So we'll set those aside. You have a small little cubby here, which has your extra magazine and a lock. You have a little cleaning kit from Smith & Wesson, which is pretty sweet. A lot of the Performance Center semi-automatic handguns are going to come with a cleaning kit from Smith & Wesson. And then you have the firearm here. So let's go ahead and take that off. Pop out the safety flag there. Okay. Alrighty. And of course we have another 8-round magazine. Let's go ahead and set all this stuff aside here and talk about the specs on the gun real quick. What we have is a subcompact 9mm single stack. This is going to be 8 rounds plus 1 in the chamber if you so choose. It's their easy model, so we'll touch on what makes this gun so easy, and we'll also touch on some of the things between the non-performance models and this Performance Center model here. The barrel on this is going to be slightly longer than the regular EZ, being that it also is ported. You'll actually see it sticks out a little bit here. And so this is a 3.8-inch barrel versus the 3.7-inch barrel. So not a whole lot of difference there. Really what you're looking at in difference is going to be felt recoil or muzzle flip because of that porting there. The length on this is just a little bit longer than the regular EZ, so it's 6.8 inches. The height with the magazine is 5 inches, and the width, this is a manual safety model here, so the widest part will be the safeties, and that's 3.4 inches. Weight is 1 pound, 7 ounces empty. Now, this model is going to run you about $588 is their MSRP. However, you can see here we have $569. So obviously you can find them for less than MSRP. Nonetheless, do expect that if you do want the Performance Center upgrades, it's going to cost you $100 more or so, maybe a little bit more, like $110 to go from the regular EZ 9mm to the Performance Center EZ 9mm. Let's go ahead and jump into our range footage here. If you haven't seen this before, we're going to be doing 3, 5, 7, and 10-yard shots. And what we're doing, or at least our goal is, of course, is to be doing 5 shots in 2 seconds. So we can see here at 3 yards, we have a 2.5-inch group, 5 yards, 2.5-inch group, 7 yards, 2 1/4, and 10 yards, 3.6. This is definitely my first time shooting this gun, but for being a subcompact gun, these are not bad groups. And also for being a gun that is as small and as light as this, without as much surface area, say in your hand, to help kind of manage some of that felt recoil and muzzle flip. I think that these groups are very good, and with more time behind the trigger, of course, these groups would only get better. Now, comparative to our target from the Smith Wesson Shield Non-Performance Center model, and the 3-yard was actually 1.25, so that's 1 1/4 inch smaller than the Performance Center model. Now, the 5-yard was 3.2, so the 5-yard was bigger, the 3-yard was smaller. But what's interesting is the 7-yard was 2 1/4, and so was the 7-yard on the Performance Center. The 10-yard was 3.6, and coincidentally, so was the 10-yard on the Performance Center. We're doing the same thing then to the goal, 5 shots, 2 seconds at 3, 5, 7, and 10 yards. Accuracy-wise, I don't feel that this was any different than the regular Shield EZ. But I will tell you the differences, of course, between the regular EZ and the Performance Center model, because I feel like a lot of viewers, like yourself, are probably considering one or the other. Is it worth the extra $100-something to go that route? And let's boil that down. So we'll do what we usually do, start at the top and go down to the magazine there, and just kind of break down some of the feature benefits here. So let's start off with the top here. What we have is some fiber optic high-vis sights. These are going to be green sights. So the regular one's going to have a 3-dot painted white sight, and this is going to be a high-vis fiber optic sight. I like these a lot. They're easy to pick up. I would have liked if there was maybe a red dot in the front so you could break up the rear sights and the front sights a little bit easier. I do like on the top here how they kind of enclose that fiber optic plastic piece there, so that way on your holster you don't end up rubbing the top of the fiber optic piece. I've had that happen on one of my more expensive guns, this Nighthawk Agent 2, and the top of that fiber optic is worn and it looks terrible. So I have to pop that out, but you know, that's just one less thing that I wouldn't have to deal with. The sights are dovetail sights, so if you choose you wanted to remove those, no problem. It doesn't have a optic cut like you might see on some of the other Shield models, so keep that in mind. Going into the slide, this is definitely a spot where people do see a difference, is you do have those window cuts on both sides of the slide there. They look really nice. You can really see those when you have the Performance Center model with either the gold accents or the silver accents. You can definitely see that, but this is my favorite. The black on black aesthetically, I think it looks the best. I do like that you can actually get a little bit of grip off of those little window cuts, because if you've seen any of my other Smith & Wesson reviews, you'll see that I always talk about they don't have front serrations, and how it drives me crazy because they definitely have the real estate to do it. And they have like these little tiny serrations, but those to me are more aesthetic than anything else. So I'm like, ah man, if they would have just extended that up the slide, I think it would have been a nice touch and made it match the rear. Going back to the top of the chamber here, you can actually see there is a loaded chamber indicator on top. That is another part of the EZ. It's easy to see that the chamber is loaded. It's easy to rack the slide. This slide is super light. It is definitely one of the #1 picks for people with like weak wrists or weak grip strength, arthritis, tendonitis, so on and so forth. I personally would not say that this is a perfect gun for women. I don't know where people get that. You know, maybe they just assume that women have weak wrists, but I'll tell you what, I think a lot of that comes down to improper technique. It says Performance Center on the side, which looks really good. The coating looks really nice. I have no complaints about that at all. Back here on the slide, it gets a little bit wider on the back. It almost has like this little edge to it back here. It's not sharp or anything. Going down into the controls here, you have your takedown lever, which is a little, it's nice and flush. I actually really like it. You do have your slide lock lever here. That is not ambidextrous, as you can see. So for you lefties out there, kind of a bummer thing. But this slide lock release, it's small, but it has a great texture to it, and it's very easy to use. I will tell you this, when the magazine is in the gun, that slide lock release is not easy to use. So keep that in mind. I would still recommend to slingshot the gun. This was the same experience that I had with the regular EZ model non-performance center. Same exact experience. Outside of that, if you're locking back the slide to go ahead and take this down, this works very well with the magazine obviously out of it. Going back here to the thumb safety. The thumb safety, I like it. It's nice, it's big, it's easy to manipulate. It doesn't necessarily get in the way of anything though. So I do like that thumb safety. And that is also ambidextrous. We're going to talk about the trigger now. And the trigger on this is a little bit different because it's not plastic, so it's aluminum. They either make this in a gold, silver, or black accent gun. So on the black on black gun, you're going to have the black barrel, the black trigger, and then the black rear safety or palm safety there, okay? On the gold, it's going to, those three things are going to be gold. On the silver, those three things are going to be silver. It's kind of a cool skeletonized look. It's a flat face trigger. It has some serrations on there, which you guys know I like. We'll do some quick little trigger pulls so you guys can check that out. This trigger is not a very long trigger pull, which is cool. It's almost at 90 degrees already, and it has about maybe a quarter of an inch before it breaks. So you have a small amount of take up there, and it's very effortless, and it's just going to take you right to the wall. Boom, there's the wall. Bam, there's the break. It is a really crisp break. And then the reset, I wish it was a little bit more audible and you could feel it a little bit better. So I'll creep this out real slow. There it is. I don't even know if you actually could hear that click. And you're right there at the wall again. Bam. So it's not really like pushing your finger out like you might see on some of the SIGs and things like that. But that reset is super short and it's not a very loud click. So let's see here. That was it. Overall, I actually like the trigger. Even though it is very predictable. If that's what they were going for, nailed it. Predictability there. Wall, break. I mean, not much more predictable than that. So if you struggle with kind of predicting the shot and you compensate for that shot, you go and you dip. Oh, I'm at the wall, you know? You're right there, you're at the wall. I'm at the wall and oh, there it goes. Was that weird? But that's the thing, is if you don't have a problem, you know, anticipating the shot, you're gonna like this. I like this trigger. But for those of you who do anticipate the shot, say you like everything about the gun, but that's the only part that, just get some range time in there. Get some snap caps, you know what I mean? Get as much practice with the gun and as much familiarity with this platform as much as you can before you go to the range and start throwing down, you know, right now 60 70 cents a round on 9mm. Make it worth your time. Let's talk about the front rail here. So you have a 1913 rail, as you can see. In my Shield EZ review before, I talked about the gap in between the slide and the rail, and you're certainly going to have a lot more space for debris to get in between the slide and the rail, being that you also have these window cuts. But I'll show you what I was talking about here. So let me pop open my flashlight, and you can see that there's actually quite a bit of space there. There's a possibility through those window cuts that you can get debris down in there, but I wouldn't worry about that as much as getting, say, debris between the actual slide and the frame. Here's what I would tell you. As your everyday carry piece, and that's typically what people are getting these for. They're not necessarily getting it for a range or race gun type of gun. It's a good home defense gun, but you can get guns that are around this price with higher capacities that you don't necessarily have to have such a thin profile on as a home defense gun. But you know, I know a lot of people, they're looking at these for concealed carry purposes. You know what? I would say every couple days. I mean, I have no problem taking this gun apart like that, and same with my P365. If I do a visual check and I go, oh, it looks like there's a little debris, I'll just pop it open, take a look, wipe it all out, and off I go. I would practice in doing that if you have a concealed carry piece that has like slide cut, window cuts, you have like this, a gap in there. Always do a visual check, make sure everything's good, and if it's questionable, disassemble it real quick, wipe it down, put it back together. It's better safe than sorry, and it's probably something you could do in about, you know, a minute. So, worth it. So the part that I didn't necessarily care for about the Performance Center model was this grip safety, palm safety, whatever it is that you want to call it. Now they've upgraded this from polymer to aluminum, but what I found is that on the aluminum model, it seems to stick out from the grip when depressed a little bit further, creating a larger gap, but also it has kind of sharp little corners to it. So when you're firing this gun, and I was at the range, I could actually feel during the recoil that I was getting pressure right here, just those two little corners, and I could actually see the little serrations in my palm. Look at this. You can see the safety in my hand. So a lot of that recoil, and you can see how big that gap is there, is just pushing in directly into that right there. It wasn't a very pleasurable experience. It wasn't like the most terrible experience, but the most comfortable way that I, you know, when I grabbed the gun, it felt was if I was below that grip safety. Well, that's a problem. Look how much gap is there. You always want to get these nice and high. So that was kind of a bummer deal. If I owned this gun, I would probably shave that down. Make it a little bit smoother, a little more ergonomic if I own this gun itself. Okay, so it's something to keep in mind. Now, the grip, I really like the grip. I love the grip angle. It's an 18-degree grip angle. It is awesome. The grip is not as aggressive as you would find on the Smith & Wesson compacts or full sizes. This is kind of like they took that and they took some light sandpaper and just kind of wore it down. It's just about perfect. The magazine release is like one of my favorite things about the EZ models. Actually, Smith & Wesson's in general, because I don't have large size hands. I have about medium size hands. And being how thin this gun is, I don't have to switch my hand from its firing position to drop that mag release. And these mag release buttons take very little effort to depress. So you can see that I'm going from firing position, boom, 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 dropping that mag, just like that. So even though my thumb, as you might be able to see, is not all the way on top of that mag release, it takes such little effort to push that in, and it doesn't have to go all the way down to release that mag. And I know that one of the questions I'll get is, have you ever accidentally dropped the mag? No, I haven't. but that's not to say that somebody else might have. But I did not accidentally drop the mag at all. But anyways, I do really like that, and of course, the magazine isn't getting kind of blocked in by my palm. You can see it just slides right by it. That's kind of my thoughts on the Smith Wesson Shield EZ Performance Center model 9mm. It is a good looking gun. It shoots well. It doesn't necessarily shoot any better than the non-Performance Center model, and that's on the target. I'm not making that up. There are obviously, like I said, a couple things that I wasn't a huge fan of, but those can be modified easily. So if you love everything else about the gun, you know, I would say just keep an eye out for those little corners on that grip safety. And then also do a visual check if you can, or just make it a habit to do a quick little visual check. If this is your everyday carry, make sure there's no lint or debris that gets in that gap between the slide and the frame. But other than that, it is a solid gun. For $588, which is the MSRP, this one here was $569. I would say not a bad choice. However, it's 8 rounds. So that is such a tough thing, because for about $550, I can go pick up a Hellcat. For $550, I can also pick up a 6-hour P365 tac pack, which are all going to be a minimum of 4 more rounds than this for about $550. So you guys, you know what, if you're thinking of maybe those other ones, check out my other reviews on those ones. I have them, you know, just go into the videos, check them out. Hopefully this information has helped you make a better educated decision on whether or not this gun is going to be a good fit for you, but also other guns to help you consider. And also you may want to, you know, also consider getting the non-Performance Center model based off of what I showed you here today. If you do need to get a gun, go to nwarmory.com, visit Northwest Armory. You can do an in-store pickup or have the gun shipped to your local FFL. If you want to get some of the awesome reactive targets, go to xhunttargets.com, order up those targets. They're sweet. And we would greatly appreciate if you became a Patreon supporter. I cannot wait to see who is going to win the awesome Traeger grill. And I'd love for you guys to check out our Beyond the Black shirt. We have some awesome content on there that's available for you. All right, other than that, make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and of course share the channel with your friends, family, and other enthusiasts. And we will see you next time here on the Concealed Carry channel. Thanks. Mm-hmm.
That could be used.
Is that a good thumbnail? I'm just kidding. All right. Oh. Oh. I'm at the wall. I'm breaking through.
Oh my gosh.
All right, that was weird. Moving on. Oh my god. Never gonna hear the end of it, I know.